Scale is a measurable size of an element in relationship to other elements in the design. So with scale, you can use shapes and icons to help emphasize different elements of your design. And you can use scale and text to also emphasize what you want the viewer to see. Scale helps provide a certain mood with design elements and images based on what you're trying to portray in that specific design element or image. So let's go ahead and take a look here. So in this example, you have scale between the planets, but without anything else to really see around these planets or anything to compare it to, we don't know the scale of these planets and how big we're talking about. So for instance, we could say that this is the actual universe, and these are planets within our solar system. And that is a much larger scale because now we're talking about hundreds of thousands of millions of miles away from each other. Or we could talk about your middle or high school science class when you would make those little dioramas of the planets and use styrofoam balls. When you're talking about that, it's on a much more average or regular scale than we're used to, something much smaller, I should say. So based on other objects interacting within the scene, you get different scale if things are larger or smaller. And with only these objects to compare to each other, your mind is kind of left and your imagination fills in those gaps. Now in this image, the same principles are going on. Scale is being used to kind of portray this image. And at first glance, this almost looks kind of like a toy train, something that you would see on a local television station or something of like a kid's show. But when we see the people, something that we're familiar with on a normal human size scale, we immediately know that these are real train cars. So now we have a sense of scale that this isn't a little toy city, this is an actual real life big city. So let's look at some examples of scale and designs. And these are the same principles. Here we have this design of Los Angeles, and we're on a large scale, out on the mountain, looking across the city and seeing this large scale of the city and encompassing the whole city in one image. We're not down on the street level, or we're not flying in the space looking down, but we do have a grand sense of scale based on this image. And of course, in this one, we're on a much smaller scale. Looking at a cup and this bottle and this water, you kind of get a real life scale what that the actual glass would be like and the size that it would pertain. So we're on a much more personal level here. We're not way above the city looking down. We're not also microscopic ants looking up at this stuff, but we're on that natural human scale where we could just reach out and grab that glass. It's almost in the same size and proportion of a normal glass. So it's actually like you could reach out and grab it. So scale is definitely helping in this photograph to portray the feeling that they want to get across, that you should stay hydrated and reach out and grab for that glass of water. And then finally, you can see scale in these icons and text. And with the Twitter icon there, you kind of get a sense of scale. Now, if we were to take that Twitter icon and blow it up so that it filled the whole graphic design, it would give you a kind of different feeling, and maybe the text would feel a little smaller to you. But since we have a smaller icon, the text kind of pops and stands out and is emphasized, but you still get a good scale of that Twitter icon. And reversely, if we were to take the Twitter icon and make it extra small, it would give you another sense of scale in the design. So use scale in your designs. It can help bring contrast and it can help guide the viewer's eyes also. It also can provide balance. If something on one side of your design is greatly scaled above everything else in your design, it's going to have a lot more visual weight and pull the viewer's eyes in that direction. That can be a mood you're going for. It can also cause discomfort and something you want to avoid, but it's all based on the ideas that you are trying to get across.